Have you ever stopped to wonder, why is it that the same things keep repeating within your life? Whether it be finances, relationships, friendships, family, ways of thinking, ways of being, a lifestyle. And you start to notice that there are similarities within these patterns from your bloodline. And you may consider yourself an outcast or the black sheep of the family because you're aware of things that don't serve you, and you realize the projections of your family and your parents are passed down to you that you know don't serve you, and your family is not able to. What if I told you that the reason why you're aware of what does not serve your lineage is because you are the one meant to break the generational curses? On today's video, I want to share with you how to break generational curses by being aware of your life experiences and how they're the projections of your family and your lineage. And when you can understand this, you will realize that you're the one who is powerful and courageous enough to break them because you have a higher calling upon this planet. What is Gooch, beautiful beings? Welcome back, AwakenOnes, on another episode on Embracing Ascension series with your homegirl, Brittany Fontanez. If you're new to this channel, so glad to have you here. If you've been on this journey with me so far, gang, only love, you know who you is. But other than that, beautiful beings, before we get started, I would greatly appreciate if you hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and also hit that notification button, and leave your comments below on the type of videos that you want me to do, and also the inspiration and the activations you receive from these videos that I put out. Other than that, beautiful beings, go check out my link in the description box below to check out my new Spotify, Mystifying Reality, with my homegirl Jessica Frias. We are now, like I said, on Spotify, so go check that out. And also, I sell merch. I make necklaces, I make dream catchers, I have my Etsy shop up. Go check that out, as well as my healing course that will assist you on your healing and spiritual journey to understand more in depth why is it that you go through what you go through to find your purpose upon this planet. But other than that, you guys, let's get into what I felt inspired to do, because me and my homegirl Jessica Frias, we did a new episode on Spotify. It won't be out this upcoming week, but it'll be out next week, and that is how to break generational curses. When we did that episode, it was her idea, and I felt inspired to do a video on it. And I feel like it's daunting and so vital for people who are on this journey of healing, but also not people who are just spiritual. I feel like this is for people who, really want to make some changes in their life, and they're really aware of the certain life experiences and the patterns that they have in their life that are really the same patterns that so-called so interesting enough that their parents have gone through, that their family has gone through. And if you are very aware to the point your intuition is so awakened, not to the point that you know it all, but to the point that you have a hunch of being self-aware enough to see how things are being repeated in your life. Because I find it very intriguing that, we always could ask ourselves, why is it that I always end up in this financial struggle? Why is it that I always end up in these type of relationships? Why is it that I always attract these type of friendships? Why is it that I keep remaining the same? And then all of a sudden you start looking at your parents, you start looking at your family, you start looking at your cousins and your aunts or your uncles, and you'll be like, they're the same way. It's weird. It's really weird. I'm going to give you guys an example so it could be a little more helpful. For me, when it came to relationships, very codependent. I always was the fan of someone's story. I always put people on a pedestal. I always felt so codependent to the point that when they left my life, I felt abandoned. And I always had to face abandonment, a lot of abandonment in my life. I faced a lot of codependency. I faced a lot of self-sabotage because I thought things were too good to be true. But I also thought that these people, I didn't deserve these people, but really these people didn't deserve me. And this was this is like in recent times. Back in the day, I was not a good person, I'll be honest about that, but in recent times, recognizing the way that I am now, I started to realize my divine light, my love that's very rare. And being aware of this, I started to recognize the type of people I attract: avoidant people, people who are users, abusers, and manipulators. And some people consider them narcissists, but I really don't like to use that word as much. But, I started to realize that about relationships, and I started to realize, where does this come from? Why do I keep attracting the same energy, just in a different face? And you guys, it could go deeper than that. Not only that you see that within yourself, you see that your parents are the same way. Now, I want to give another example. Trigger warning, I've experienced wanting to commit suicide a few times in my life. And I will never forget going to my first Reiki session. And he made me relive a very distant memory in my childhood, where I remember living in an apartment complex and looking out the window, and there was the fire truck outside, and my mom, she was sitting on the couch, but she wasn't present, not really paying attention to me. I remember looking out that window and looking down, because we were on the highest floor of the building, and I saw a broken wine glass on the ground, and I didn't know what that vision meant. But when I got my first Reiki session, I recognized that, my mom tried to kill herself that day. And then I started thinking, I have this pattern of wanting to commit suicide. And then I started to recognize depression. And then I started to recognize that, my grandmother has depression. Then I started to recognize in my life, like, I feel like I'm alone, I'm tired. And my mom says that all the time. And I'm like, is this really my own patterns? Are these projections of beliefs of what of my family has put onto me? I want you guys to understand that generational curses are limitations that don't serve the power within your lineage. And the reason why it's important to break these generational curses is for you to recognize how these limitations are not true and that do not serve you. Little do we know, our ancestors chose us to break these generational curses, because we do have a big purpose upon this planet. We do have a mission for our individuality and the reason why our individual self exists. And I say that our ancestors chose us because we have the courage to do this work, while people in our family who came before us didn't have the courage to do it. So they remain in stagnation, and they remain settling, and they remain in their own suffering. But you don't want to be that way, and that is why you're aware of it. But I say your ancestors chose you because we have to understand, back in the days, when our parents existed and their parents existed, our great-great-grandparents, around those times, there was no space to feel safe enough to do this type of inner work. When people talk about witches, or people talk about healing, or people talk about holistic healing, it was very foreign and very scary to go about certain things like this. And our ancestors didn't have the space to be able to do this type of work. So the reason why they chose us in this reincarnation is because we have that space. We have that opportunity to do this inner work and transform the bloodline of our lineage. So I say this because it's so important that you recognize the reason why you feel different in this world, the reason why you see things other people don't see, the reason why you feel, think, and see in depth beyond your physical eye, beyond your physical being, beyond your ego, is because you have a higher calling to awaken this world to a higher sense of consciousness. You guys, we are in the state of the apocalypse, and it doesn't mean the ending of the world. It means the lifting of the veil. So you're meant to be of service to people who are not able to do this inner work, to break the fear paradigm, to break the lack paradigm that is causing suffering within this world. And when you're able to do this within your lineage, You're able to do the ancestors' work that they were not able to do. And now that is your calling to do. But I want to share with you guys that when we do this type of work and when we see it, we got to be ready to take responsibility of it. It's not your fault that you were born in a broken home or you were born poor. But it will be your fault if you do die poor. It will be your fault if you don't know how to receive love. It will be your fault if you don't know how to give love. It will be your fault if you don't recognize how to take accountability when it comes to certain relationships that you entertain that always bring heartbreak into your life. It will be your fault if you don't do this work. And I know that it sucks to take responsibility upon people who came before you in your bloodline. Like, damn, why is it that I gotta break this belief? Why is it that I have to go through these experiences that my family went through, but they didn't want to do the work? I know it sucks. It's like you gotta be the bigger person. It's like you're the parent to your parent. It's like you're the one who brings the light and the life to your family. I know it sucks. But what sucks more is being so fearful that you don't want to break the pattern that doesn't serve, and you remain in that suffering just like your bloodline. So how to break generational curses? When a belief comes up, for instance, say you have a relationship, like, how can I explain this? Say you want a relationship and you want to receive love. A love that's so profound that it's like a power couple. And you guys really know how to work together. But you fear that this person will abandon you. Now ask yourself, is that your belief or is that a limitation that you picked up as a projection? And the best way to do this and how to break generational curses, look at your parents. Look at your family. Have they always been abandoned? What type of people did they choose? What type of people did they go after in relationships? What did they entertain? And if it's the same pattern that you're doing, then that means that is the limitation you have to break. That is a lesson you have to learn. And there's blessings and lessons. Please remember that. So, another example. When it comes to lack mentality, if you come upon money and you look at money as it's too hard to get, or money is the root of all evil, is that your belief? Question it, because it's how you break generational curses. Is that your belief, or is that your parents or your family's belief? You have to understand, when we are born upon this planet, we are already given our purpose. And the purpose is, what did we go through in childhood that is causing the limitations in our adulthood that do not serve? And then when we can recognize that, we can recognize what our purpose is. Our purpose here is to break what does not serve our potential that needs to be expressed. That's all it is. So breaking generational curses helps us tap into the potentiality that has yet to be expressed. But the reason why people who came before us fear doing this work, or the people who are aware of the things that don't serve them in these limitations, and the reason why they don't break them, is because they don't want to face the fear. Because they think the fear is the most painful part of the process. But what if I told you, fear is the only way to get through the potential you have yet to see within yourself. You guys, I've been the first in my family to go to college in another state, to travel for 3 years straight, to quit my job, to go after my dreams, to go after my goals, to do things my family has never done, to the point my dad's like, Brett, you've done things I've never done and I'm a little jealous. Ain't that crazy to have a parent say that they're jealous of you? Because you had the courage to go to the extreme and experience something that your soul called you to do, because you're meant to break the fear, the worry, the lack, the scarcity, the abandonment, the codependency wound. So, generational curses are meant to be broken to help you see your potential, to assist your bloodline to heal for the next generation to come. And you do this by being aware of your limitations, take your responsibility for them, questioning them, and recognizing, is it your own? Or is it a projection you picked up? And then shifting it into belief that serves your soul. So you guys, don't fear going after this calling. Don't fear being the bigger person. Don't fear knowing that you're the most powerful one in your bloodline. Because it doesn't mean you're better than everyone else. It just means you have the courage to do things others are too scared to do. And those are the people who are willing to change the world. Who said it? Steve Jobs said, the ones who are crazy enough to think they're going to change the world is the ones that do. And you know you're that person. So, you guys, do this for you. And recognize breaking generational curses are helping you live the best life you're meant to live. Your ancestors called you to do this because they want you to have the blessings they never had. They want you to see the life that you can have that your family has never had before. You deserve that because you are abundant. You are divine, and it's your divine right to live the life that you know you deserve. But you first have to become who you've never been in order to receive what you had never had. And that first calls for you to break generational curses that don't serve your soul and for the next generation to come within your lineage. So make your ancestors proud by making yourself proud and knowing that you're going to have your back and go after the purpose and the calling that you're meant to go after. But you guys, I'm going to leave it right there because I got to get going. But I really hope this served you guys in some type of way and activated you in some sort of way. But until then, you guys, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and hit that notification button. And then go down to the link in the description box below to check out my merch and my podcast. But until then, you guys, only love.